stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Mighty. How y'all doing this week? I ask you that every week, don't I? Because I genuinely care how you're doing. I hope it is a great week, or it's been a great week, or it's becoming a great week. Spring is springing. I know life keeps lifing, but at least spring is around the corner. Or we just had the first day of spring, right? I don't know. In the Midwest, the weather has been ridiculous in the last week. I do believe we have experienced all four seasons, like 70-degree weather, 30-degree weather, a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain. Yeah, but that's living in the Midwest. It's nothing new. Happens every single year. So you don't have to take pictures and videos of the snow when it comes in March, because you should be used to it by now. That's just a tip. So anyway, how is that journey going for you? I know the last episode talked about how I was starting to feel a little bit better, and I was, and I am. But I do believe seasonal depression is something that's real. And I think in the winter, it was just hard for me. And even just coming up to the weather changing, I've had some ups and downs and some lows, but I'm still trying to be positive. And lately, in our community, the town where I live, there have been a lot of people around me who are experiencing grief upon grief upon grief, and it's multiple families, but some of them overlap. So there are some people who are experiencing loss of multiple family members. And I've said before, before my son died, I was one of those people who was always there to comfort people and to give them words of encouragement. And I still try to do that, but I am learning grief is a trigger for grief. You want to think, if it's not someone who's your family member, that it shouldn't hit you too hard, and you should be able to help people deal with, their loss, especially if it's something that you had done before. But although I'm there and I'm helping people out, and, if you need me, I'm here. And when I say that, I genuinely mean it. If they need me, I will definitely hop to it. But it's sinking me into grief again, as if my loss is new. And it's been over a year and a half. Of course, it's not going to go away, but it's just, I find myself trying to comfort someone else, and as soon as I'm away from them, I'm in tears again, thinking of what I went through, or thinking of what they must be going through, because I know how it was for me. So it's crazy, how different things we've talked about, how they trigger you. But I really didn't think that someone else losing a loved one would be so hard for me. But it takes me right back, like I just got the news about my son. So I'm trying to figure out the way to balance things of that nature, because I definitely want to be there as a support for people, because I really can say I understand what you're going through. I can't say I know how you feel, and I'm very meticulous with that. I don't want to say I know how you feel, even if it's someone who lost their child, because, it's not cookie cutter. But I definitely know what they're going through. And maybe it's that, just the knowing what they're going through and what I had to go through and how crazy it can be. It's just taking me right back. And I have found myself in the last couple of weeks just crying off and on for myself, for others, for the losses in our community, because there's been some huge blows in our community. But it's crazy how it feels like I'm going through the loss of my son all over again. And so I have to remind myself, let's try not to make it about me, really, because at this point, not that I'll never go through it or I'm not still dealing with the loss of my son, but I don't want to ever take away from what someone else is dealing with. That's selfish, and I've never been a selfish person. And I try to put my feelings to the side a little bit so that I can be there, as difficult as it may be. And then sometimes it's okay to allow your feelings to be seen as well, because they know you're being genuine. They know that what you went through and what they are going through or may soon go through, or the things that are to come, that it's real. It's not going to be easy, but at least they know that someone is there for them and someone will help them through it as much as possible. So maybe it's not such a blow for them. Now, you can't say the loss isn't as much of a blow, because even in those situations, I think I mentioned in the last episode that my son was saying it's a little bit easier when it's someone that you have prepared for. And I think that may be the case if it's not a family member, someone who's close that they've been sick and you maybe had prepared for and thought it would be coming. But for some people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they've been sick for months and the doctor told you that you have 3 months, and in the 3 months time it happens. It's still a devastating loss. So it's a process. It's a lot. And I hope that whatever area you are on in your journey, that you are able to have someone that you can have as your sounding board, that you can have someone who's there to listen. I've spoken before on how I don't necessarily need what do you need? What can I get you? I don't need you to get me anything. I may just need you to listen. And sometimes we have to decipher when it's a moment to listen and not speak, to listen and not try to offer advice, because your advice could upset someone. They may just need to blow off steam. They may just need to have a release. They may just need to sit in silence and just know that you are there. And it's not easy to decipher those moments. But if you pay attention to the reactions, if you pay attention to the way that person responds to what you're doing, you'll learn. You'll find that happy medium, and you'll find a way to be that sounding board for them, or to be that person that they need you to be in that moment. And trust me, that may change from one instance to the next. Even if it's the same person, there may be a day that they need you to give them the advice, to let them know, I'm here. I know what you're going through. I know it's not easy. I understand. I feel your pain. And the next time, it may just be letting them vent. Because the process of going through planning a funeral, going through just the whole bereavement process is stressful. It's almost more stressful than dealing with the fact that your loved one has passed on. Because sometimes when you get that notification, if you will, you're numb. So it's not even as stressful for you until after all of the planning and the execution of the actual ceremony and all that's done. That's when you really have to deal with the loss. Because for a lot of people, and a lot of times, people are there once the death happens, and they're there through the funeral process. There when you have the funeral, go to the cemetery, maybe a week after. And then after that, radio silence. Nothing. No calls, no texts. It's like they forget. And for you, it is a daily occurrence. It's a daily occurrence. And so you have to now realize, okay, they're not going to be here like they would like. And it's not to say that they don't care, but unfortunately, life goes on for other people. Life has to go on for you. But it's a little bit different for you because there's a piece missing. And if they haven't dealt with having that piece missing, actually, even if they have, they're dealing with theirs. They have their grief. They have their issues. And that's when you're left to your own devices. And that was one of the times that was really difficult for me after so many people reaching out and calling and, hey, what do you need? Even though I said, I don't know. I don't think I need anything. I'm okay. But then for it to just completely go quiet for a little while, it's a roller coaster. And you have to learn how to navigate it. Yes, you will have those friends who will forever say, hey, are you okay? What do you need? You need to talk. Or they know specific days. They'll probably reach out on the birthdays or, significant days in your loved one's life. But day by day, you're not always going to have that person who's, I'm here for you, as attentive as they were during that process of planning the funeral and planning the burial and all of that. And maybe the time of going through that planning process and getting through all of that, because it's so stressful, that may be the time that you really need all of those people around you, because you've got to keep all of this stuff straight. You've got to keep it all organized. The things that go on with planning a funeral, there's some things that you wouldn't think about. Even things like picking out the clothing. You just don't think about what all goes into something like that, because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with it when you have to. So you definitely don't want to when it's not something that's on the horizon. But you have to allow the people who want to be there at that time. And if they get to the point where they're not, don't take it personally. Don't take it as if they don't care anymore, or, they were only there for the time when everyone could see. Because you can't expect everyone to grieve with you or grieve the way you do. So you may have to let them know, hey, you know what? Today is not the best day. I miss my loved one. I miss my son. I had a moment. I had a memory that popped up. Things happen. Things happen that you wouldn't expect. Like, I may go into my phone to take a picture, and, phones nowadays, it's, on this day, 5 years ago, this happened. And it's a picture of a happy memory with my son. Unexpected. And it may trigger me. What do? Pick up phone. Oh my God, a picture of my son popped up. I just can't do that every time, because then I would constantly be calling people to the point where they probably would get sick of me, because there's always something. Grief is a crazy, crazy, lifelong journey. Once it happens, there's no, okay, I'm not grieving anymore. I'm not worried about it anymore. Because even when you have the best days, the best week, the best month, it seems like that's when grief is ready to attack. That's when grief is like, She's gone too long smiling. She's gone too long enjoying life. And that's something else I said on a recent Facebook post. Grief will make you feel guilty for living life, for moving on with your life. You feel like you're supposed to be stuck on that day when you lost someone who was so close to you. And I understand it. But we got to do something, right? Like the last episode, we can't die with them. So it's a balance of, you almost ask, can I move forward? Can I do this? Can I be happy for a minute? Can I be happy for a couple of days without feeling bad about it, or without grief coming back like, how dare you try to be happy? Did you forget that you lost someone? Did you forget the devastation? At least that's my journey. But I'm still pushing forward. I'm still trying to put my best foot forward. I'm still trying to smile every day. And every day there's something. Every day there's multiple somethings that may catch me off guard. I can't even say that I'm crying less. Maybe a shorter period of time in each instance, but I'm probably still crying as much. I just try to somehow get myself past it. Just earlier this morning, I was at work and I can't even remember what it was that triggered me, but I'm at work and someone came to ask me a question, and I'm trying my best not to look at them because I'm literally a blubbering mess. And, you try to secretly wipe your face so they don't realize that you're in tears. But of course, your eyes are bloodshot red and your face is poofy. So now are you okay? And you don't really want to say, yeah, I just had a moment where grief struck me. At least I don't. And maybe that's one of my problems, is I don't want to tell people that. But, the poor guy that was asking me a question, I turned around and you could see he was just like, oh my gosh. But he made it a point not to say anything because I still was just answering his question and being as professional as I could. And then when he left, now I'm trying to clean myself up. I guess it's too late at that point because he's already seen me that way. But there's nothing you can do. If you have something that that I can do to get past those moments or to stop those moments, please email me. I give you the email address at the end of every episode. Please let me know what you do that works well for you to stop those moments, because I don't see a way out of it. I don't see a way past it. And I think that there will be moments like that for the rest of my life. It's difficult. And I know it's not just difficult for me. The whole life cycle, to quote the Lion King, the circle of life. We know that everyone who's born will at some point die, but it doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get, you can't prepare for it no matter what. Even if someone lives to be 96, if that's a family member and you're close to that person and you love that person, that loss will still hit you. I recently did the Chris Brown Residuals Challenge. He's got a song and people have been remaking the song or just re-singing his lyrics. And people were asking me to do the challenge, so I did. And it ended up being a song about grief. I couldn't even stick to what that song was about. And I changed it to Invincible, because even though we know that our family members or that people will eventually die, there's just some where you just feel like, or probably all, where you just feel like they weren't supposed to. So we expect them to be invincible. And death is a grim reminder that nobody is. A very grim reminder. So I'm convinced there's no easy death. There's no, what's the word I want to use? There's no death, even if it's someone who's sick and you don't want them to suffer anymore. Yes, you'll be like, at least they're not suffering anymore, but there's still a loss. You'd rather for them to get better, right? You'd rather for them to check out of the hospital as opposed to checking out of life. I have a friend right now who's in the hospital fighting for her life, and she's been there for a few weeks. And I feel like a horrible friend because it's so difficult for me to go and visit her because I'm so afraid of what's going to happen, or I'm so afraid of being there when they finally say, we've done all we can do. And honestly, they've said that. It's the machines are keeping her alive. None of this is easy. There's no way to look forward to anything of this nature. And she's got kids. She's got a teenage daughter. She's got an adult son. And there's so many things that's going on with that family. And they don't know what to do. And I can't tell them what to do. All I can do is be of support. And I feel like I'm being so impersonal because I'm texting, hey, any updates? But it's really just, it's so difficult for me to see her like that, to be in the hospital. The whole situation is difficult. And I'm trying not to be selfish. But I don't think it's selfish to not. I don't want to break down in front of her kids. I don't want to make it harder for them. I'm trying to be strong for everyone involved. In case you haven't noticed, I'm always trying to be strong. I've always been the strong one, so it's my nature. Probably to a fault. I will admit it's to a fault. But in my life, I've had to be the strong one. I'm the oldest. I've taken care of my siblings. I've had to deal with a lot of things. And in dealing with those things, I've just learned to be a little bit thick-skinned. And the only thing I can't truly be thick-skinned with is death and grief. And obviously, I'm learning even someone else's grief. It's like that club, when I talked about mothers losing their children, that we're in a club that nobody wants to be a part of. I'm realizing grief is a club and nobody wants to be a part of it, but you cannot avoid it. There's no way out of it. And we just have to navigate our life being a part of this club and figure out how we wear that patch. And of course, it's not a patch we're proud to wear. We're not in like a motorcycle club, or it's an invisible patch because a lot of people don't want you to know. Yes, I'm going through grief. I don't even like when someone may see me in public and say, "Are you okay?" I'm dealing with the loss of my, because you don't know what they're dealing with. Everybody has something. But I just feel like this club, this something, It is just something else. It is the worst. And if I could have any say in it, I would keep my family, my loved ones, anyone around me from having to deal with it. I remember when I was little, my uncle said to us after my grandmother's funeral, "I hate funerals. That's why I'm not going to mine." And we were like, how can you even say that? But he didn't want to have one. He didn't want the family to be upset and, mourning him. He's still here, so we haven't had it yet. But he still says, "I ain't going to mine." So I'm not sure what the plan is. I hope he has something written down, because he never did give us any information outside of that. So we'll figure it out when the time comes, I guess. But I get what he's saying. I hate what it takes the family through. I hate what people deal with. And honestly, for some reason, it brings out the worst in people. Families get to arguing and bickering and fighting when it's a time that you should be coming together. I will never understand that. And no, my family's not exempt. I just still don't understand why that would be the time that everyone wants to fight and be cutthroat and just bring out the worst when you should be comforting each other. If nothing else, if you get nothing else from this episode, just think about how you would like to be treated when you're in that situation. Try not to, if your family is, and I'm like at a loss for words, because I've seen some of the craziest things happen when a loved one passes on, or when a loved one is close to passing on, of how families just turn on each other. That's toxic. And then you're still here, and now it's like you've lost more than that one person, because people get to the point where they're not speaking anymore. I just don't get it. Literally, life is too short. And you would think losing someone would bring that to your attention. It's just, I don't know. The last couple of weeks have been just crazy. I know of at least 3 families, almost back to back, who lost loved ones. And several members of those families are close to me. And it's just trying to be there for each person in the way that they need you to be there. It can be exhausting. But I know what it was like for me. And I know I would rather try to be there for them than not. So if you have someone close to you who's dealing with it like you've dealt with it, I hope you're being there for them as well, because it can also help you. It can trigger you, but it can also help you. It's that crazy roller coaster of a grief journey. And I can't say that we're in control of how it's going to make us feel, because we're not. But that's okay. We can go on the journey with them, just like hopefully they were on the journey with us. And if not, we can just go on the journey together now. Because grief isn't going anywhere, and death isn't going anywhere. Of course, I'm not trying to bring you down or depress you, but we know it's something we deal with day by day. And I just hope your journey is getting easier. If you've been with me this whole time, it's been a little bit over a year. So I hope in that year, it's gotten a little bit easier than when we first began. That's all I can ask for. If not, we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to stay on this journey. We're going to buckle up and continue this roller coaster ride, because who knows what's next. We're here every other Friday, everywhere that you listen to podcasts, and you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. I still got that email address if you'd like to reach out, if you'd like to be a guest. It is wearemighty24@gmail.com. In everything you do, be true to yourself. Be strong and be mighty. Continue on your journey and try to stay a little more positive each day. I'll see you next time.
They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.